going on, guys? This is the Entertainment Critic here, and welcome back to another review for Legends of Tomorrow Season 3. This is going to be a review for Season 3, Episode 17, which is entitled Guest Starring John Noble. Now, the title is very, misinterpreting from what actually happens in the episode. Yes, John Noble doesn't appear in the episode as himself, but it was such a small part of the episode, and I really think it should have been titled something else, but a lot of things happened in this episode. I will go over it in this, but a lot of things happened, and I thought it was one of the strongest episodes of the season. Overall, this season's been very strong, and I will have my season review up through it once it finishes. So, after I do my review for episode 18, which will be next week, I will have a season review up for it by the end of that week for Legends of Tomorrow too. And then once Legends of Tomorrow finishes, Supergirl is going to come back, so I'll start doing reviews for Supergirl instead of Legends of Tomorrow, because I have one less show to worry about, so I'll start picking up Supergirl again. Anyway, getting straight into the episode, it starts off where they were trying, Maya, we found out in the last episode, actually went back to Zambezi in 1942, and she had the plan of trying to save her granddaughter and her daughter from dying by warlords, and obviously they send Nate and Wally after her to try and convince her to stop her, but Nate ends up getting too involved with Amaya and ends up actually trying to help her. And we find out that if Zambezi is saved and it doesn't get destroyed some way, Marlis will be released, and we really don't want that. And well, we find out that they actually do want to release Marlis by the end of the episode, but there's a lot of plot twists in this episode. This is like plot twisty episode really, but yeah, they don't want Zambezi to be saved, because if they do, the time prison that is keeping Marlis in prison will be broken and he will be free. And throughout this episode, we do have teasers of Damian and Nora, and their relationship is one of the strongest things in this episode, because all Damian really wants to do is to save his daughter, but Marlis is obviously possessing Nora and overtaking her, and we find out that if Marlis is freed, Nora is just gone. He takes her place. So it kind of is like body switching, even though Damian was technically the one who did this. He technically sold Nora's soul to Marlis, and this is technically his fault, which is probably where most of his guilt comes from in this episode, because he didn't realize that in giving Nora to Marlis, that she would end up dying when he was released. Which is a goal he's been wanting this entire season, but he then realized in the last couple of episodes, I think it's since episode 15 or 16 actually, he realized that releasing Marlis isn't what he wants. He just wants this happy ending with his daughter, and throughout this episode, I honestly thought Damien Dark had come full circle in the fact that he started off as a villain, and now he's becoming more of a hero-ish character. But by the end of the episode, we do see that he does end up betraying the Legends after he agrees to work with them to try and stop Marlis from escaping, or to try and defeat Marlis. But he ends up working against them, because his only goal is to save his daughter, and he still sees the Marlis possessed Nora as Nora. So even though throughout the episode he wanted to try and stop Marlis, he realized that is still his daughter, and he didn't want to do that to her. So he ends up releasing her, and then Marlis is freed essentially, because Zambezi is saved by Nate. Nate ends up flinging Grodd, who actually destroys the city instead of the warlords. He ends up being able to wield the Earth Totem, and he flings across. I don't know. He flings him into the way it looks of it, and yeah. So Marlis ends up getting released, and we were so wrong about Marlis. Everybody thought that Marlis was a person. This is a straight up CGI demon. Even though, yes, we could get the revelation in the next episode that Marlis is actually somebody we know, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen. It seems like they're more gonna go with Marlis, a straight up demon entity that has control over death in a way. That seems more not reasonable. This seems the more likely choice they're gonna go for, because I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem like that could be Rip Hunter, like I said in the past. It doesn't seem like that could be Barry Allen, like I said in the past. Unless something, they went over an extreme makeover and going into the afterlife. I don't think that is either of them. Even though the future Barry did have that scar, I think that's a bit more than a scar. That was a straight up bat demon thing. And honestly, he looks terrifying, and the CGI on him looks pretty good, actually. I was expecting it to be a mess of CGI. Like, The Flash is known for bad CGI, but Legends of Tomorrow has actually nailed the CGI this season. Like, Wally's looked good, Firestorm's always looked good, Marlos looks really good. I think that it's sad when the TV shows look better than the movies. It really is sad, because the movies have millions of dollars of budget, and the TV shows have, like, $1 million, and that has to be split between the 5 shows, I believe. I think they might have increased it after they added Black Lightning, but it was originally like something like $1 million, and they had to split that between making shows. It was somewhere around there. And the fact that Marlos looks better than Steppenwolf in Justice League says volumes about what the prosthetics team and the CGI team on the CW shows can do. Because honestly, in Justice League, Steppenwolf looked terrible. He looked like a old raisin, like a shriveled up raisin, and it looked really bad. Whereas Marlos he looks pretty good, and I really like the way they've gone with his design. Anyway, moving on, the whole plan for taking out Marlos was that everybody was going to wield a totem, and the only 2 people that could actually wield a totem for the Death Totem would have been Sarah or Damian, and Sarah didn't want to wield the Death Totem again, because last time she wielded the Death Totem, she almost killed her entire team in Necromancing the Stone. So, she ends up trusting Damian, because they have a heart-to-heart about Damian just wanting to save his daughter, and she ends up not trusting him, but allowing him to use the totem, thinking that he was going to use it to help them defeat Marlos. And by the time they get back to Zambezi, which is why the totems were their strongest, Damian ends up turning on them, and like I said, he ends up releasing Marlos. So, they then try to stop him, and he almost killed Wally, and I would have been so mad and so upset if they ended up killing Wally, because Wally has become one of the best characters on the show, even though he's only had 3 or 4 episodes on the show as so far. But I've really enjoyed Wally's presence on Legends, and I think it's improved the show so much, and Wally and Nate just mix so well. But yeah, I really did enjoy this episode, and I think that it's gonna lead into the finale so well. And we had this feeling that Legends was gonna like dip off towards the end of the season, because they weren't really progressing the plot this much. This episode just straight up developed the plot right the way up to what they need for the finale. Marlos has escaped, and I'm assuming he teleported away at the end of the episode. So I'm assuming that, but in the next episode, he's gonna be going through trying to destroy time, and the Legends are gonna try and stop him using the totems. Obviously, right now Ray can't actually wield the water totem, and I don't know if he's actually gonna end up wielding the water totem. I think that they're gonna try. I think that some way Kawasa is gonna come back. I don't know if it's definite, but I think in some way Kawasa will come back. And we know in the finale for sure that Jax is going to be coming back. That was confirmed a long time ago. So Jefferson Jackson, I have a feeling, will end up wielding the fire totem in the finale, because I feel like he would have more of a connection to it and more of a use for it than Rory does. Even if Rory's whole thing is fire, I think that it belongs more with Jax, because that is the only way he can really become a Solar Firestorm. So that's gonna be interesting. And honestly, I think that they will end up defeating Manus, obviously, but the way they do it might be interesting, because obviously Amaya, by the end of the season, I have the feeling she's gonna go back to Zambezi. So I don't know where the finale is actually going to take place, because it could take place anywhere in time, because if Marlos teleported out trying to destroy time, it could take place in the temporal zone. It could really be anywhere. And overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. My favorite parts for this episode would have to be the Damien Dark and Nora scenes, the Damien Dark and Sarah scenes. I really liked Damien in this episode overall, and he was really emotional in this episode, and it really brought another dimension to his character. Like, we don't see him as just a normal stereotypical villain like we did back in Arrow Season 3. He's actually been developed to the point of being a really good character, and I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, even though it's kind of sad because it's the finale, but it's going to be a nice way to say goodbye to one of the best shows, if not the best show of this season. And yeah, that is my review for Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Episode 17, which is otherwise entitled Guest Starring John Noble. If you enjoyed this review, please do hit that like button. You know your support is very much appreciated, and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.